can't express how sorry I am towards Manti and his family.
Netflix's Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, investigates the online relationship and unexpected controversy that sent footballer Manti Te'o's life and career spiraling in 2012. It will feature never-before-seen interviews with Manti Te'o and those involved. But if you want a brief explanation of that story before jumping in, or heck, if you just want a 10-minute alternative, I'm Adam Andrews with Where Are They Now, and I have got you covered. Manti Te'o was an up-and-coming star college football player at the legendary and prestigious Notre Dame, with dreams and aspirations of joining the NFL. Now back in 2012, this young football star was messaged on Facebook by an LA-based woman named Lene Kakua, who struck up a friendship with Manti that blossomed into a pretty deep online relationship. The relationship never actually progressed to an in-person meeting though, as Lene would come up with an excuse whenever Manti would push to meet up. However, the pair still continued to date and would talk on the phone. But at some point in the relationship, Manti would learn that Lene was involved in a horrible car crash that left her with serious injuries, which would pile on top of Manti learning through Lene's family a little later that Lene has been diagnosed with leukemia and then passed away from cancer not too long afterwards. The loss of his online girlfriend also happened to fall on the same day as his grandmother's passing, as The loss of his online girlfriend also happened to fall on the same day as his grandmother's passing as well. In his own words, Manti said, quote, "I just broke," when he heard the news. With his girlfriend and grandmother both passing away, he dedicated himself to his upcoming season in honor of the loss he had suffered, going on to absolutely kill it on the field. Manti led Notre Dame to the national championship game and earned so much respect and notoriety for his story of persevering through tragedy. But the notoriety he received seemed to unveil a twist that most people, including Manti himself, were not expecting. Two reporters at Deadspin, Tim Burke and Jack Dickey, when reporting the story of Manti and his success, received an anonymous tip and investigated into who Lene Kakua was, and could not find anything outside of stories about Te'o. It was as if she did not exist at all other than with Te'o, which raised a lot of questions. Once the reporters had discovered the truth though, they published a tell-all article revealing to the world that Lene Kakua was in fact a fictional character. Lene was actually created by one of Te'o's childhood friends, a man named Renea Tuiasosopo, who set up the profile to catfish Te'o into a relationship after falling in love with him. Manti had supposedly learned of the hoax not too much long after the death of his not-real girlfriend, but even after telling the school all about it, both he and the school did not speak about it for a while, and understandably so, as it did not go well when he did. But how did this all come to be? Manti became Facebook friends with Tuiasosopo, who was playing the part of Lene Kakua, pretending to be a made-up cousin of Tuiasosopo. The catfisher even explained, quote, "You bring in whatever characters to maintain the validity of this whole persona. I even made myself Lene's cousin." The real woman whose pictures were used to create Lene, Diane O'Meara, was even contacted by Tuiasosopo, who asked her to pose for specific photos holding up a sign to prove to Manti Te'o that she was real. But Tuiasosopo told her the photos were for a sick friend of theirs. Tuiasosopo says that they grew up where, quote, "Everything was centered around faith, family, and football. Their father played for USC, an uncle was on the Rams, and older cousins played for the 49ers and the Raiders. It was part of the family, which Nea, born a boy, struggled with. During their sophomore year in high school, they were a starting quarterback, but despite this, they said, quote, "I hate football. I just wanted to play football out of obedience, and I wanted to make my dad happy." Now they say in the documentary regarding her actions, quote, "I created this fictional character. I totally felt fear. I didn't have courage to just be like, this is who I am. I didn't expect it to blow up so quickly." She continued on to say, "It was a black hole that consumed my life and I didn't care who I was hurting," end quote. It still doesn't really explain catfishing a guy, starting a relationship, and then faking a death though, really, does it? Not really. Especially considering the revelation of the scandal raised a whole lot of questions and even a few accusations, with some news outlets claiming that Manti had organized the whole thing to give himself an inspiring backstory and advance his career forward. Other media outlets even suggested that Manti had orchestrated the whole controversy to cover up the fact that he was gay, which it wasn't true. One sports broadcaster, Alex Flanagan, said, quote, "I think one of the first questions everybody asked was, how could he be so naive? And then the second question everybody started wondering was he complicit? But of course, the college football star had no idea, truly believing that Lene was a real person who had really passed away, meaning yes, he was really heartbroken by the loss, and the realization of the hoax likely made it worse, with Manti even telling ABC News, quote, "To realize that I was the victim of what was apparently someone's sick joke and constant lies was, and is, painful and humiliating." This media controversy and backlash had a big effect on Manti, both personally and professionally. He said, quote, "It was just a huge tidal wave and I was drowning. You can't feel anything, taste anything, smell anything, nothing." This was all at a time when Manti was waiting to hear if he had achieved his NFL dreams and been drafted. And likely, thanks to the scandal surrounding him at the time, his stock fell in the NFL draft and he was not picked on the first draft, something that shocked most US sports journalists at the time. Even his agent told him he would, quote, "get picked, it's just a matter of where and when." Unfortunately, he wasn't entirely wrong, as Manti went on to play for the San Diego Chargers in the second round of the 2013 draft, going on to have a journeyman career with San Diego, New Orleans, and the Bears. Currently, he's a free agent, no longer connected to a team. With the years of jokes, cartoons, memes, and social media bullying, Te'o's experienced numbing anxiety and had to go on to find help through therapy. Speaking about that period of his life, he said it was a time that left him anxious and numb, and he sought help to, quote, "rediscover who I was." During an ESPN interview, he did admit that, quote, "In retrospect, I obviously should have been much more cautious. If anything good comes from this, I hope it is that others will be far more guarded when they engage with people online than I was," end quote. After the hoax, he has gone on to have a successful football career, and in 2020 got engaged to his eventual actual real girlfriend, for reals this time, Jovi Nicole Angbino, a personal trainer, beauty consultant, and social media influencer. The pair are married, and now, proving she's really real, the two share a daughter together. So, good job, man. As for Tua Sissoko, they did a confessional interview with Dr. Phil back when the controversy broke, no doubt bringing the NFL stock for Te'o down even further. And eventually they moved to American Samoa and eventually transitioned and now identifies as a transgender woman. Naya says she isn't proud or happy with what she did, saying, quote, "I still feel horrible, but I learned so much about who I am today because of the lessons I learned through the life of Lene." So, hey, she manipulated a football star, putting him through the trauma of losing a girlfriend the same day as his grandmother and almost cost him his NFL career, but she knows who she is now. She continues to say, quote, "After this whole life with Lene had ended, I couldn't give Lene any more of my time. And I remember telling myself, you want to be a girl, so be a girl. Honestly, we all make mistakes and do things we can't explain, especially when we are at a vulnerable point in our lives." Both Te'o and Tua Sissoko will be appearing in the documentary episode by directors Ryan Duffy and Tony Vanku. Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist is available to stream from 16th of August, which is today unless you're in the future. And now you're armed to go and learn more with this brief explanation of where they are now. Have you all ever been catfished? Leave it in the comments, and hey, while you're here, why not drop a like and subscribe if you liked the video. I've been your host, Adam Andrews. You can find me on Instagram, and as always, stay safe and well informed out there, kiddos. Adios.